Yes. Okay. I could hear some zebra calling way off in the distance. Wonderful. Well, there we go. A little bit of an elephant dust bath in the evening before sending you back to the hyena den.
Right, now you can see how dark it is. Yesterday evening it was much much lighter than this time, but that's because of the storm that Scott showed you coming over here. Lightning is certainly exploding all around behind us. You can see how much darker it's getting. So we'll just sit here for a little bit longer, and that little cub has not moved. She's been suckling and suckling and suckling. And I was doing a little bit of reading on hyenas today, because obviously we're seeing so many interesting little kinds of behaviors here. And the interesting thing that they say doesn't happen, and it has happened here, is that the dominant female, or the more dominant female, gave birth at what they don't call, you've got this, I've forgotten the terms now, you've got the central den and basically a temporary den. And normally the dominant female will give birth at the central den, and this is definitely the central den at the moment, and that didn't happen here. She gave birth away from here at a temporary den, and that's one of the reasons I'm not convinced that she's the actual matriarch of this clan. But it's all rather interesting. You will now start to see little flashes on your screen from the lightning. Now, as many of our regulars will know, hyenas, although they look like dogs, are more closely related to cats. And Smart Redhead, you want to know, ooh, there's the thunder. You want to know, I mean, in what way, how is it possible? Smart Redhead, it's not as simple as pointing out a couple of physical characteristics. It's in terms of their DNA. Their DNA is much more closely aligned. And, you know, from the fossil record, we can tell that the common ancestor of the cats and the hyena split off from the common ancestor of the dogs and the cats and the hyenas. They all eventually had one common ancestor. But the hyenas and cats' common ancestor split off from that of the dogs probably about 2 million years ago. So they've been evolving away, if you like, from the dogs for almost 2 million years, and they've been evolving along the same line as the cats for a much longer time than they have as the dogs. And the result of that is that their DNA is much more closely aligned to those of the cats, and I think possibly of those of the mongoose as well. And that's May there, who's coming in here. Now you see the fact that May is prepared to come in here and say hi and sort of semi-suckle off another female tells us that her mother is also very dominant. She wouldn't do that if her mother wasn't dominant. But there she gets a little bit of a hiding. All right, everyone, I think we're going to pack it in here, I'm afraid. The little one's gone down. I'm sure she's going to come back out again. But because it's getting so dark, we can't shine a light here. And Andrew is pushing this camera to the max. Aren't you, Andrew?
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, they've just disappeared. What does the picture look like, Andrew? Are you happy to sit for a while?
Yeah.